Welcome to the Sheffield United Way. I'm Hal. We're going to look at ILIMAN NDIAYE, and that is apparently how you pronounce it. So, who is he? ILIMAN NDIAYE, born in Rouen in France, and he could choose to represent France or Senegal. Senegal, the birthplace of his father. His mother is French. He's 5'11". He's right-footed, and he's in the most important area, you could argue, that Sheffield United need, an attacking midfielder. Now, he can play in that central midfield, a bit further back, as part of a 2 or as a 3. And he's trained in the under-23s in that 3 because, of course, they train in that kind of 3-5-2 formation. He can, at a push, also play up front. We know he's going to be part of Slav's wingless wonders, so I wouldn't expect him to play as a winger, of course. I'm sure he could. He's definitely got a lot in his locker, as we will look at in a moment. But let's start with his football journey, which began at the age of 6 in Rouen, Normandy, with FC Rouen, before moving to Marseille at the age of 11. Then, after just 1 year in the south of France, he went to Senegal to live with family. He also continued his playing time there with Dakar Sacré-Cœur. This is where Ndiaye believes he started to see real progress as his enjoyment levels increased for the beautiful game, and he was playing football on a variety of terrain, including sand, which meant he had to adapt. He had to work on his touch, his technique, and of course, if you've ever run through sand, you've got to work on your strength as well. His family, he's credited as saying, have been a huge influence. His football-loving father trained with him every day, as well as his sisters, some of whom have competed in athletics. Ndiaye has quite a few, 7 sisters, I was reading. And at the age of just 14, he moved to London, not on his own, with his family. All the family that had been with him in Senegal, the close family, they came to England. It was for work reasons, and this was a dream move. But at the time, he was unable to speak English. He can now. He's fluent. He started his football life in England at a 2-week football camp run by Manchester United. He also spent time at camps with Chelsea, Reading, and then a slightly longer stint with Southampton's development. He was part of the Southampton development team for 3 years, but then following unsuccessful trials to get a contract, he wasn't signed. So he joined National League side Boreham Wood. It was there he became part of the Rising Ballers series. Rising Ballers, it's a platform supporting youth footballers worldwide. You can still see the video on him as a 19-year-old. It's up on YouTube. And then it was the 31st of August 2019 that it all changed. He signed with Sheffield United, of course, a professional football club that were taking him on at a key age. He joined from Boreham Wood, who themselves are also a professional club. Whilst at Sheffield United, he enjoyed a loan spell at semi-pro club Hyde United. For the latter half of the 2019-20 season, he played 6 times. He scored once. Reports were very encouraging. But it's his form in the Blades under-23s that has really made him stand out. 7 goals and 10 assists in 11 matches. No surprise he caught the eye of coaches. Last season, he was top scorer in the under-23s as well. So a really bright future if you've ever watched any of the under-23s, certainly some of the games that have been put on YouTube. He's one that always catches the eye. And he made his first team debut under Paul Heckingbottom, who called him up to the first team and then threw him in on the 14th of March 2021. We might remember that game away at Leicester in the Premier League. We'd rather not remember it. It was a forgettable 5-0 defeat. And Ndiaye, it should be said, was not at fault for any of those goals. He actually acquitted himself well. It was a brief cameo, but I think we all agree we liked what we saw. This season, he played against Derby County in the League Cup as part of a more memorable 2-1 victory. His first appearance in front of a crowd, a beautiful downtown Bramall Lane as well, something he's already commented on that was very special to him. Let's look at his strengths and weaknesses. Some have described this as the signing of the summer. And if you watched our interview with Sheffield United owner Prince Abdullah, you'll know how excited he was about a potential signing. He wouldn't give the name, but we now know it was Ndiaye. His strengths are his dribbling, his technique, passing. He's got flair. I mean, if you see any of the clips of him from Rising Ballers, he's got flair. Excellent vision. He's got good speed. I wouldn't say outstanding speed. Shot power, excellent control, great energy, And because he's been training in that under-23s, he's able to play the high press the way that we implemented it, certainly under Chris Wilder, in the times that it worked. Let's focus on the fact that the 3-5-2 worked for longer than it didn't. He appears down to earth, humble, and gracious. He took time in a recent interview to thank his coaches, including Paul Heckingbottom and former Blade striker Jack Lester, for assisting him with his progress and really helping him get to where he's got to today. He's certainly got confidence. If you watch some of his earlier videos, he's always believed he would get to this stage in his career. One thing I'd add to his strengths is after football, he's clearly got a career in professional poker with the way he held out over his contract dispute. He asked for, I believe, a certain amount of money, which it wouldn't be fair to reveal. He clearly wanted assurances on first-team minutes. Given his age, he's got to be playing first-team football. And he held firm. The club appear to have seen sense, and a deal has been done. Albeit protracted, it was finally done. Who knows what impact he could have had in the early part of this season if that contract dispute hadn't been the case. We will never know. The good news is it's been done now. Who knows if either side had to compromise on certain things. I'm sure they did. That's the nature of deals. But let's look at how he will fit into the Blades system. As mentioned already, he is in that position of need, an attacking midfielder. And in an ideal world, I think he'd play as a number 10, aka the Duffy role. I feel it's more likely he will play as part of a 3 in midfield. Now we know Slavisa didn't get his wingers. Or, and this is where I believe we get the best out of not only him, but the current crop of players that we have, Ndiaye and Morgan Gibbs-White playing behind a striker. Those two behind a central striker is not something we've really seen too often for the Red and White Wizards, but I think that could be genuinely creative and exciting. I think the whole future, Blades, is bright with the likes of Marcus Dewhurst, Sariki, Brooks, Andre Brooks, don't forget him, Harry Boy's on loan at the moment, Gordon, Lapata, fantastic performances we've seen from that defender. Zach Brunt, we know a lot of assists come from him for the under-23s. Frankie Maguire, of course, Daniel Jebison, and now Ndiaye, all coming through. I just think I want to end on a positive. We should be justifiably hopeful and proud of the work being conducted behind the first team scenes. And you'll notice I haven't really focused on weaknesses. That's because, first of all, he's a young man. I don't think it's fair to do that. And secondly, I've only seen what I've been able to see of him. You know, normally I'd like to watch more under-23 football, but the world being in the state that it was, I was only able to see what we were all able to see, which was online. So I don't feel I'm in a position to comment too much on any of his weak points. And as I say, I want to finish on a positive. I think it's a great signing. I'm really excited, and good luck